Let's go ahead and try and rebuild the New York Jets in my first franchise rebuild here on Madden 26. This will be a one-off rebuild video where I'm going to give myself 5 seasons or so to try to win a Super Bowl. Kicking things off here, here's our starting offense. Justin Fields will be our quarterback for at least the first season. We'll see if we need to move on in free agency or the draft following the first year. We'll see how well he plays. But aside from him, I feel like we have some nice pieces to build around, like Breece Hall, who is an 84 overall, and Garrett Wilson, who is an 87 with a superstar dev trade. But as we jump over to the defensive side of the ball, we see 2 massive pieces on this team. Quinnen Williams, who is a 93 overall superstar X-Factor at defensive tackle, and Sauce Gardner, who is a 95 overall at corner, who is also a superstar X-Factor. In the franchise deep dive for this game, EA did say that playbooks won't carry as much weight. I have changed our offensive playbook and scheme to match the Ravens because we do have a mobile quarterback, but on defense, I'm keeping it as the Jets scheme and playbook, and we'll see how well that goes. Before we go into simulating the first season of this rebuild, we are going to be signing a couple of free agents here. The first one is going to be Kevontae Turpin, a 75 overall with 97 speed. And yeah, this loading screen is going to take about 10 years to show up. Hopefully they get this patched relatively quickly. Honestly, I haven't spent too much time in Madden so far this year. But yeah, that's been the one thing I noticed, is that loading times in between screens is ridiculous. Following that, there is one more signing I would like to make, and we need to go all the way over to corner to make it. And it is Rasul Douglas, who is an 81 overall, only has 89 speed, but he's 6'2". I feel like he can fill in nicely as our DB number 2. I don't really think Michael Carter is going to be the answer there, so we're going to bring in Rasul Douglas. And just because this man is still available as a free agent, we're also going to be signing Asante Samuel Jr. And here is our very first look at the upcoming draft class. If we need to go quarterback, there are a couple here inside the top 10, with Brooks Keys projected to go at 2 right now, and Philip Harrison as the number 6 player on the board right now. But one thing I noticed, and they talked about it in their deep dive, is there are definitely a lot of linemen higher up on the board, because they talked about how in real life we're seeing teams spend more on the trenches. In real life, I'm an Eagles fan, so I definitely know about teams doing that. But we also have a few receivers up here should we need to go that route as well. But from here, let's go ahead and jump into the mid-season point and see how well we are doing. And the answer is not very good. We are sitting at a 2-5 record, and it looks like we started 0-5 but managed to pick up back-to-back wins against the Broncos and the Panthers in our last couple games. But it doesn't really look like Fields is playing bad. He's got over 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. On the ground, Breece Hall has 4 touchdowns. Braylon Allen has 4 touchdowns as well. Apparently Justin Fields hasn't ran in for a touchdown, despite the fact we are using the Ravens playbook, which is a little bit weird. And then a receiving, Garrett Wilson is leading our team in touchdowns with 2. Just looking at these season stats, and yeah, our offense is not very good. We're 31st in points per game. We're 29th in passing yards per game. Rushing yards, we're doing okay. We're 13th. And then our defense is also not really playing well. So I feel like we're going to be picking pretty high up in the draft. From that, let's just go to the end of the season and see how exactly bad we finished. Final record on the season, we end up 7-10. We are number 20 in offensive points per game. We're number 5 in offensive rushing yards per game. Unfortunately, number 30 in passing yards per game. And the defensive points per game, we finished number 17. We had a pretty good run defense, but that could have been because we had a pretty bad pass defense. Well, that wasn't a horrible start to the season at the midway point, but it was not a great finish for Justin Fields. 16 touchdowns to 15 interceptions. And then on the ground, Breece Hall ran for 1,100 yards and 9 scores. Justin Fields did run in for 6 touchdowns by the end of the year. And Braylon Allen also came in with 9 touchdowns. Receiving, Allen Lazard led our team in yards with 780. Garrett Wilson got the most touchdowns with 6. And where's Turpin, the guy we signed? He finished with 18 catches. All right, not a whole lot. Awesome. Just because I really haven't seen how well these season stats play out yet in this year's Madden. Looks like Joe Burrow led the league in passing yards with 4,600. Touchdowns goes to Josh Allen with 38. And interceptions is Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson, who both threw 16. Running the ball, Derrick Henry got 1,600 yards. And then most touchdowns goes to Saquon Barkley, who came out with 15. And receiving, Puka Nacua, 104 catches, the only receiver over 100 receptions. And he has the most yards and tied for the most touchdowns with Tank Dell, who apparently had a breakout season. And I completely forgot to look at our defensive stats there, so let's go back and look at that. It looks like Sherwood led our team in tackles with 140. In sacks, Quinnen Williams got 10, Jermaine Johnson got 5, and interceptions, Brandon Stevens came away with 3, Raduls Douglas got a couple, Tony Adams got 2, Sauce Gardner got a couple, and Sherwood came out with 1. And the Super Bowl in this first season here is going to be between 2 1 seeds in the Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles. And Lamar Jackson leaves with his first Super Bowl of his career, beating Philadelphia 37-34. You can see all of the awards on the right side of the screen. The one that I always like to keep track of, though, is the Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Cam Ward, and the Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Jalen Walker. We are going to go ahead and make a quick change here, though. Zach Parker, you are getting fired. Our offense was not good, so we're going to need to hire a new one. Looking through the entire list, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and make this hire. Kevin Stefanski, welcome to the Jets. You will be our new offensive coordinator. I decided to also fire our defensive coordinator, so we're going to bring on Alex Anthony here, who is a defensive genius. I really thought about bringing out Jonathan Gannon, but ultimately we're going to go with someone else. But we now have a bit of cap space here. We have 153 million. So yeah, we have a little bit to play with here. We're going to jump into players that are ready to negotiate and see if there's anyone that I want to bring back. And the very first person I would absolutely love to bring back, can we get Breece Hall back? We'll offer you a little bit more money, so hopefully you take this. And he is going to be coming back. Unfortunately for us, Elijah Vera Tucker does not want to come back right now. We may end up bringing him back anyway, but I want to scroll through here and see if there's anyone else that I am just absolutely needing to bring back, and I'm not really seeing anyone. We are going to be offering Elijah Vera Tucker a player-friendly deal. He does not really want to come back. It's apparently because of a scheme fit, but we're going to see if he takes this, and yeah, he will. All right, so the player-friendly thing still works pretty well. And there was at least one more guy I want to bring back, and I think it's going to be Quincy Williams, as long as it's not a long contract. Yeah, I'll take a 2-year for 81 overall guy. But from that spot, we're going to let everyone else go into free agency and see if we can get this team just, you know, a bit better. And there is a massive name on the market with Micah Parsons, a 99 overall, 27 years old, superstar X Factor. Would be absolutely amazing to add him to this defense. Jumping ahead, I have offered our 5 contracts for the first stage here. We're going after Shaq Thompson, Malcolm Rodriguez, Rashid Shaheed, Reed Blankenship, and obviously Micah Parsons. So we're going to jump to the next stage, and hopefully he has signed. Everyone's gone except Reed, and we ended up not getting one of the guys. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head. It may be Rashid Shaheed. He is not here. But we do get Shaq Thompson, Malcolm Rodriguez, and Micah Parsons. So we had a 99 overall edge rusher. Moving on to the next stage, we're offering contracts to a lot of guys that don't really want to be here, but Tony Adams kind of wants to be here, so we're going to try to bring him back. Asante Samuel, Keaton Mitchell as our backup running back, Christian Watson, considering I lost out on Rashid Shaheed, and then Reed Blankenship is still here. So do we land any of them this time? It looks like Watson and Blankenship are both still here, but I think we may have landed everyone else. And then I have upped the money for these 2 guys, which are the last 2 that we're going after right now. So do they end up signing with us? They are both gone. And we land Christian Watson, but I do not see Reed Blankenship here, which is unfortunate. To make up for that loss, I offered a couple contracts, one to Malik Hooker and one to Eddie Jackson. And well, they have both decided to sign those. So we now have 2 free safeties on the roster. The reason I threw out 2 is because we had exactly 0 free safeties on the roster. Looking at the final mock draft before we jump into the official draft, and we're picking at number 8, but as of right now, it has the Browns taking both of those quarterbacks that were projected to go in the top 10. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because I would actually maybe like to look at taking one of those, but the mock draft has us taking a defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. But here we are now, so let's go ahead and just jump the first few picks into the draft because I want to see exactly how they go. And it looks like the Cardinals are going to take that left tackle, Bobby Bailey. The Browns are going to take Brooks Keys, the #1 quarterback on the board. I wasn't really willing to trade up to take him. He looked like he was solid, but not good enough to trade up from 8 all the way to 2. But maybe, just maybe, they won't take a quarterback at 5 unless EA has completely screwed this thing up. So at pick 5, they take Ty Sharp, who is a defensive tackle. So the other quarterback should be on the board if we want him. Talent grade, though, was not very good unless the Raiders take him here. The Raiders may very well do it, and they do not. They actually take the defensive tackle that we were projected to take. So it's kind of hard for me to pick who I want to draft here because I can barely see anything because it doesn't black out whenever you go to make a selection. That's awesome. Now, I am well aware that this guy says that his talent grade is round 2 to 3, but with the 8th overall pick, this quarterback Philip Harrison is actually kind of tempting, because if we look at his physicals, he has elite throw power, and then he also comes with B awareness, B break sack, B throw under pressure, A trucking for some reason, A deep accuracy. Unfortunately, his short and medium accuracy are both at C, but that's really something you can improve here. So I think we're going to go ahead and take the quarterback Philip Harrison with the 8th overall pick. Welcome to the Jets. And can I please see if you were at least a hidden depth trait? He absolutely is, with 97 throw power. Moving on into the second round with the 8th overall pick. And this round, we're going to take defensive tackle Dorian Pryor out of UCLA. A projection of rounds 3 to 4, but a talent grade of round 1. Yeah, you're going to become a New York Jet here, buddy. And he is number 14 in true value and another hidden depth trait player. We are now in round number 4 because we apparently don't have a 3rd round pick. I think it said Philadelphia had it, which would mean it's most likely the Hassan Reddick trade from a couple of years ago. But we're going to use the 4th round pick on center Tony Martinez out of Louisville. And we're going to see if this was a good pick. 47 in true value and drafted him at 104. Pretty solid there. And yet another hidden depth trait for us. I am perfectly fine with this draft. We got a 73 overall quarterback, a 77 overall defensive tackle, and a 74 overall center. Later on in the draft, we got a 65 overall guard, a 65 overall outside linebacker, 66 overall running back, and a 70 overall wide receiver. I do want to see who was the highest rated player drafted, and that is going to be running back Roderick Thompson out of UCF, who went 9th overall to Minnesota as an 86 overall. And then the number 1 overall pick, Bobby Bailey, was an 82 overall. Now, I want to see what that other quarterback was, and that is Brooks Keys. He is a 77 overall. Is he going to be a hidden depth trait as we go through this incredibly long loading screen right now? And yes, he is. And here is your official starting lineup for Season 2 of this rebuild. Obviously, Harrison will be our starting quarterback. Breece Hall is still our running back. And then the only addition I feel like we really made along these skill positions was Christian Watson here as our wide receiver 2. And then we have Martinez, one of the guys we drafted at center, but he is moving over to the left guard. And along the defensive side of the ball, we better be able to get to the quarterback. Pryor is a hidden depth trait. Jermaine Johnson's an 80 overall with a star depth trait. Quinnen Williams returns, still a superstar X Factor. And we paid big money to get Micah Parsons, a 99 overall edge rusher. So if he doesn't end up leading the team in sacks, I feel like that contract was kind of a waste. Well, this is definitely one way to begin your career. In Harrison's first game, he beats Buffalo 31-30 and did it behind 239 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. So we got a win to kick off Season 2. Let's jump to the midway point and see where we stand. You know, not exactly where I wanted to be with another 2-5 record, but we do have a rookie quarterback and apparently the number 1 passing offense in the league. Unfortunately, we apparently have the worst defense in the league, allowing 32.8 points a game. That is absurd. Our rookie quarterback's honestly having a really good season, over 2,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, does have 7 interceptions. Running the ball, Breece Hall has 276 yards and 5 scores. And then receiving, Garrett Wilson has 7 touchdowns. Arian Smith has 5, and then Mason Taylor has 2, along with Christian Watson and Breece Hall. Alright, well, I guess we'll just move on from that and head to the end of the season. I highly doubt we're going to be in the playoff race here. You know, I'm not generally one for firing a defensive coordinator, and I understand that Aaron Glenn is a defensive head coach. This would most likely fall on him in real life. But when you finish dead last in every category, there can't be 0 change. So we'll most likely be getting another new defensive coordinator. But yeah, we finished 3-14, but we do have the number 1 passing offense at least. And with that, the Jets have their first 4,000-yard passer since Joe Namath, as quarterback Philip Harrison goes for 4,700 yards, 34 touchdowns, and 17 picks. I will tell you, before I started this season, or before I simulated it, I did change our playbook to Cincinnati's because Harrison's obviously not the same type of quarterback as Justin Fields. And I would say we definitely did that, having just a great passing attack and a horrible defense. Don't know if that affects anything, but Breece Hall goes for 570 and 9 touchdowns. And then receiving, Garrett Wilson goes for 1,200 yards and 12 scores. Arian Smith, 1,100 yards and 11 scores. Christian Watson got 4 touchdowns. Mason Taylor caught 3, and Breece Hall caught 4. Over on defense, Sherwood leads the team in tackles with 109 in sacks. That goes to Quinnen Williams, who got 12, but Micah Parsons did get 10.5. So I said before the season, if he doesn't lead the team, it might be a waste. But, you know, when these two can combine for 22 sacks, I feel like it's pretty solid. Jermaine Johnson came in with 5.5, and Pryor, our rookie defensive tackle, came in with 5. What about interceptions? Yeah, we only got 3 on the entire year. For the second straight year in this rebuild, Philadelphia has made it to the Super Bowl, but this time they get to take on Buffalo. And for the second straight year, Philadelphia will come out with a loss by a final score of 44-39. So this one was a shootout here. And then it looks like we win Offensive Rookie of the Year with quarterback Philip Harrison. Not really shocking considering his stat line. Now, I know what I said just a few minutes ago, that I was going to fire our defensive coordinator. Looking at all the abilities he has and everything, right now we're actually not going to fire him. I know that seems kind of crazy considering how bad our defense was, but we're going to change our scheme and our defensive playbook going into next season, and hopefully that helps out our defense a bit. We do not have a ton of cap space this offseason. We only have $22 million to use, and the first thing we're going to do is take the 5th-year option on Fashanu here at left tackle. But honestly, past that, I'm not seeing a whole lot of guys I want to bring back. I would like to bring back Jermaine Johnson, but we have sunk a ton of money into the defensive line between Quinnen Williams and Micah Parsons at this point. So we're going to let him walk and see if we can find someone cheaper in free agency or in the draft. I would like to bring back Tippmann, though. He doesn't have a lot of interest in coming back, so we'll up the money just a bit and see if he takes that. And yes, he will be returning. From here, before we go into free agency, I would love to clear up some cap space, and the first thing we're going to do is get rid of Michael Carter. And I will gladly take that trade. Michael Carter has been sent to the Chargers in exchange for a 3rd-round pick. In free agency, there are a couple interesting names here at the top with Kyle Hamilton and Zay Flowers. Unfortunately, I don't really think I can make the money work to get either one of them. But just wanted to update you guys on this. Harrison is a superstar dev trait quarterback. Garrett Wilson is now a superstar X Factor. And Arian Smith is up to a superstar dev trait. Alright, so it's not going to be a crazy free agency class, obviously. We have brought in Luke Musgrave, Bryce Huff, Isaiah Simmons, and Eddie Jackson. And this season, we actually end up with the number 2 overall pick. They are expecting us to take an edge rusher in Jared McMahon out of East Carolina. We'll see if that's what ends up happening. But here we go. With the number 1 pick in this year's draft, the New Orleans Saints are going to be selecting Cedric Baber, the quarterback that they were mocked. But instead of actually making a pick here, we're going to trade it with the Texans and fall back a few spots and pick up a 3rd rounder for this year and a 2nd rounder for next year. And then with that 5th overall pick, we're going to take safety Dalvin Claiborne out of USC, 21 years old. He's projected to go in rounds 1 to 2, but is a top 5 talent. Has great speed, so welcome to the Jets, where we really need help over on defense apparently. Number 1 in true value, drafted him at 5, and a hidden dev trait. And now as we go into the 2nd round, we're going to take edge rusher Josh Herron out of USC. Apparently we're just going to be drafting from that school right now. B block shedding, B power move, A tackle. I really like all of his ratings here, so we're going to go ahead and bring him in the 2nd round. And Herron will come in as the number 74 in true value. Alright, not great there in a normal dev trait. Alright, we may have missed on this one. Alright, well maybe we can make up for it here in round number 3, where we have a couple picks. The first one I'm looking at making is middle linebacker Cameron Kirkland out of Louisville, 21 years old, B block shed, C pursuit, C zone coverage, but is also the fastest middle linebacker in his class. Ran a 4.6 at the combine, a 4.56 at his pro day. And as A awareness, A play rec, we're going to go ahead and draft him. And Kirkland, please be a solid player. 63 in true value, drafted him at 66, and a hidden dev trait. Well, I honestly think after looking around for a while, we're going to end up using this 5th pick in the 3rd round on another strong safety in Mac English out of Texas. And he is going to come in as the number 75 player in true value and a normal dev trait. But I also lied to you guys. We have one more pick here in this round. We actually pick at number 14, and that is from, I believe, the trade that I completely forgot that I made, getting rid of Michael Carter. And with that other pick here in the 3rd round, we're going to take Ben Nickerson out of Louisville, 22 years old, B-man coverage, A press. Welcome to the Jets, and he is going to be number 64 in true value and a hidden dev trait for us. Only 87 speed. He is not fast. But looking at our draft class, I am incredibly happy with this. Dalvin Claiborne is an 85 overall safety. Josh Herron's a 72 overall at edge rusher. We also got a 72 overall Mike, a 72 overall safety in Mac English, and a 72 overall corner in Ben Nickerson. Past that, we had a 67 overall running back, a 65 right tackle, a 66 left tackle, a 66 corner, and a 65 edge rusher. We did not add a whole lot to the offense in this last offseason. In fact, I don't really think we added anything except maybe some backup linemen possibly and a backup tight end. Aside from that, we're just waiting to see how good Philip Harrison can get this year. But over on defense, you will notice a pretty massive change. I decided to move us from a 4-3 over to a 3-4 because I feel like that just works best in simulation, and we're using the Philadelphia Eagles playbook, so hopefully we can get some pressure on the quarterback this year and not have a defense ranked dead last in every single category. But it is now time to jump to the midway point of the season and see if we got any better. Please don't be 2-5 yet again. That is definitely more what I want to see. We have a 6-1 record right now with the number 2 pass offense in the league and the number 5 scoring offense. Our defense still allowing 26 points a game, which I don't like to see, but we're at least winning games now. And our quarterback's up to 1,800 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. Running the ball, Breece Hall has 400 yards and 5 scores. Harrison's even ran in for a touchdown himself. And then receiving, Garrett Wilson has 7 touchdowns. Mason Taylor has 4. Arian Smith has 4. Christian Watson has 2. Breece Hall has 1. And Luke Musgrave has a couple. Obviously, that is a great start to this season, but hopefully we can finish strong and actually end up in the playoffs here in the 3rd year of this rebuild. Alright, well, we definitely fell apart in the back half of the year because we finished 11-6 following a 6-1 start. Not what you want to see, but we are at least in the playoffs. And I'm just going to say that I don't think those losses were on our quarterback too much. 43 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. Breece Hall runs for 11 scores, and then receiving, Arian Smith has 13 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson has 12. Mason Taylor has 9. What about our defense? What is going on over here? The most sacks goes to Quinnen Williams, who got 11. Micah Parsons only came away with 7 this season. That's a bit of a concern. And interceptions, we got several though. We got 3 from Thomas, 3 from Sauce Gardner, 2 from Sherwood, 2 from Claiborne, and then 1 from Williams, Stevens, and Asante Samuel Jr. Just taking a look at this, we have the number 2 passing offense in the league, still only behind Cincinnati, who we have to play in the very first round of the playoffs. But our defense still allowing 24 points a game, and their defense is allowing 25. So this game could end up being a shootout here. What were the final division standings? We get in as the 7 seed with an 11-6 record because this division is insane. But unfortunately, in our very first playoff game of this rebuild, we lose by a final score of 24-21. So it is back into the offseason to try to get this team even better. Well, we have the first season in this rebuild where Philadelphia does not make the Super Bowl, and it's between the 3-seed Tennessee Titans and the 5-seed Green Bay Packers. And it looks like Cam Ward has captured his first Super Bowl of his career and gotten the Titans their franchise's first Super Bowl by a final score of 24-21. We do have a bit more money going into this offseason, but unfortunately, Quinnen Williams' contract is up, and that is going to eat a good amount of it, so I imagine that's going to take quite a bit, and yeah, he will be re-signing. Along with that, we are going to be taking the 5th-year option on our right tackle. But with that being said, we are going to be letting everyone else walk into free agency, and yes, that includes Jamien Sherwood, who had led our team in tackles several years in a row. But yeah, we're going to be letting him walk as well. And I've only made 2 signings in this free agency, and that's all we're going to be making. We got Drew Tranquil and Taylor Demerson to be our starting free safety because we do not have one on the roster currently, at least not a serviceable one. And in this draft, we get to pick at number 22, and currently our mock's an outside linebacker. I'm not going to guarantee that's what we do, but I wouldn't completely rule that option out. But actually, I am going to rule out taking an outside linebacker. We're going to take Montreal Wall, a safety out of Penn State, and hopefully it doesn't backfire on us. Number 30 in true value, took him at 22, and he is a hidden dev trade. But now in the 2nd round, I am willing to take an outside linebacker in Sean Lane out of LSU. Now, you will notice a lot of his attributes are not exactly great. I think he's definitely more of a project guy, but I actually like his just ratings that you can't teach. Like, he has elite speed, great acceleration. So, Sean Lane, you are a Jet, and that was a horrible pick. 120 in true value, took him at 43, but is a hidden dev trait, so it kind of balances out, I think. Later on in the second round, we're going to take defensive back Jamar Simpson out of Virginia Tech because he's projected in rounds 3 to 4, but a talent grade of round 1 to 2. So we're just going to go ahead and bring him in and we'll see exactly what that is. He is number 33 in true value and a hidden dev trait. Well, this pick may not end up being anything for us, but we are going to take tight end Trent Shaughnessy out of Oklahoma here at the end of the third round, and he's going to be 175 in true value. All right, so this draft wasn't great, and he's a normal dev trait. Well, I know the two other guys that I took with Sean Lane and Trent Shaughnessy aren't great, but we did get a 75 overall corner in Jamar Simpson and a 75 overall safety in Montrell Wall. Moving on to season 4 of this rebuild, Philip Harrison is now a 92 overall superstar X-Factor quarterback. Arian Smith is also an 83 overall superstar X-Factor at receiver. Obviously, it's a little weird to see a superstar X-Factor at an 83 overall, but you know, it is what it is. And then Garrett Wilson is a superstar depth trait over here at a 91 overall. Jumping over the defensive side of the ball, unfortunately, Quinnen Williams did lose his superstar X-Factor. He is only down to a superstar now, but Micah Parsons is still an X-Factor, and we also have Claiborne, who is now a superstar X-Factor. Sauce Gardner is going to remain a superstar X-Factor at a 98 overall, and no, Wall will be the starter, not whoever you are that I signed in free agency. Last season, we got off to a 6-1 start and then had an 11-6 finish and got bounced in the wildcard round. We're going to jump to the midseason and see if we can match that 6-1 record or even be better. You know what? I will go ahead and take that. We actually started the season 5-0, it looks like, had our bye week, and then came out and lost to Buffalo, but we're off to a 5-1 start to the season. And it looks like our defense is finally performing. We are 15th in points per game in the league. Obviously not near as high as what I want to be or where I think a 91 overall defense should be, but you know, it's at least working. Philip Harrison, through just 6 games on the year, has 18 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. On the ground, Breece Hall has 4 rushing touchdowns and 362 yards. And then a receiving, Garrett Wilson already has 9 touchdowns on the year. But now it is time to see how this season is going to wrap up for us. Hopefully we can get back to the playoffs and get out of the wildcard round. All right, this is a nice finish to the year. 12-5, we win the division even, and it's not even close. Second place is New England at 9-8. They didn't even make the playoffs. How did our season end up? We are the #1 passing offense, and then in defensive points per game, we are 14th. Offensive points per game, we are 2nd. And it does look like our backup quarterback, Hunter Saxon, had to step in for a bit, but Philip Harrison is going to finish the season with 4,400 yards, 39 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Running the ball, Breece Hall got 1,200 yards and 14 scores. Receiving, Garrett Wilson, 1,200 yards and 15 touchdowns. And then Arian Smith caught 11. Mason Taylor came away with 6. Christian Watson got 4, and then Breece Hall and Luke Musgrave both caught 2. Leading the team in tackles is going to be Cameron Kirkland, and in sacks, there is all the money that we spent. Micah Parsons with 19.5 sacks, Quinnen Williams got 10, and just so you guys are aware, I did switch the playbook from Philadelphia to Baltimore before the season, so apparently Baltimore is still one of the best defensive playbooks in the game. And then Claiborne came away with 2 picks, Sauce Gardner got 2, and then Thomas, Adams, and Wall all came away with 1. Unfortunately, we end up losing this game by 2 scores, so yet again, we fail to get out of the wildcard round of the playoffs. Alright, so this year, Philadelphia is just completely busted in simulation. They get to the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in 4 years, and this time it's a Pennsylvania Bowl as they are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Philadelphia finally gets a Super Bowl win here in this video as they defeat Pittsburgh 17-14. It does glitch out here, though. It says Philadelphia is just a 2-time Super Bowl champion. This would actually be their 3rd Super Bowl, but whatever. Well, apparently our defensive coordinator left because I just went to check out our coaches, and it automatically hired Mike McDonald for me, so I guess that's okay. Now, this offseason, we do have $93 million in cap. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and accept the 5th-year option on our franchise quarterback here. An obvious decision on that one. And we will be trying to bring back Arian Smith because he has been very, very good for us. I'll give you a player-friendly deal, and he will be returning as well. How many other people past him? Oh, we do have our starting left tackle I would like to bring back, but that would be a lot of money. He doesn't have a lot of interest. How much more cap space would that burn? Just a little bit. We'll go ahead and offer that, and yeah, he's going to be returning as well. Now, I do think we can let Thomas walk. I think we're pretty deep at corner. Quentin Williams, you're still in 94 overall, and he wants to come back, so we'll offer that. Yeah, we're burning through our cap space like crazy to keep our core members here. And then Mason Taylor, you want a 3-year deal. You've been pretty good for us. And he wants to play for a new team. He's actually the first guy in this video to decline us. How about a 2-year offer for Joe Tippmann? And he will be re-signing with us as well. So we're at least keeping our offensive line together so far. I then got our kicker and our punter re-signed, but we will definitely have to look for a new tight end because we're losing both Luke Musgrave and Mason Taylor. I would like to bring him back if I can, but I don't really know. What's the franchise tag? 1 year, $20 million. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Well, once again, we didn't have a ton of cap space, so it kind of proves that I blew a lot of money in that first offseason. But I feel like we got some good players from it. But now we can only add Noah Fant and Jahan Dotson to our team. And in our final mock draft that we will be doing in this video, we are mocked to take Kadeem Street, a defensive back, at pick number 23. But that is not the route I will be going. To replace the tight end we just lost, we're going to take Elijah Keaton here in the first round. And hopefully this doesn't backfire. He's 37 in true value, took him at 23, and a normal dev trait. Not exactly what you want to see here. And now I know this is the second round and it says this guy is a day 3 projection, but I'm kind of afraid someone might actually draft him before that. He has elite speed, elite acceleration, elite agility, elite change of direction. Yeah, he's definitely like a combine warrior right now, but he also has A awareness, A man coverage, A zone coverage, B play rec, B hit power. Mike Watkins, welcome to the Jets. 89 in true value with those ratings. That's a little bit insane in a normal depth trade. This pick is solely being made because he has a day 3 projection and around 1 to 2 talent grades. So defensive back Damon Ingram, you are a New York Jet, 21 years old out of Arizona State, 33 in true value, and a hidden depth trait. So at least we get 1 in this class. Well, even the couple guys that I took that didn't have a hidden depth trait are still a 75 overall tight end and a 72 overall outside linebacker. But Ingram is a 75 overall corner, and then later in the draft, we got a 76 overall defensive tackle in Terry Thomas. Looking at our final starting lineup in this rebuild here with the New York Jets as we head into Season 5, and we have 3 superstar X-Factors on our offense with our quarterback in Philip Harrison, and both of our 1 and 2 receivers in Garrett Wilson and Arian Smith, and then Breece Hall is now a superstar depth trait as well. And then we have our defense. Now, obviously, there are a couple weak spots here with our outside linebacker and our right edge rusher, but I think we have enough talent spread across the rest of the defense to really make up for those. But obviously, this final season is a Super Bowl or bust year, so hopefully we can get back to the playoffs and finally get past the wild card round. But as of right now, we'll just have to see what happens. And at the midway point of the season, we're at a 5-1 record, but we are not first place in the division because you can see our matchup this week is the 6-0 Buffalo Bills. Let's see where we rank on all of the stats. We are 5th in offensive points per game and 4th in defensive points per game. But I won't lie, it kind of feels like our quarterback might be having a bit of a down year. Only 12 touchdowns at this point in the year, but only 3 interceptions as well. Running the ball, Breece Hall has 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then receiving, Garrett Wilson has 5 touchdowns. Arian Smith has 2. Noah Fant has not caught a touchdown. Maybe that's what's slowing us down. He's used to having a mid 80 overall tight end, and we do not have that this year. Or should I say we didn't have that kind of player. We have made a trade with the Atlanta Falcons here in the midway point of Season 5 to trade a first-round pick and 2 second-round picks in exchange for tight end Kyle Pitts. And with that addition, let's see if it can catapult our offense just a little bit higher, because I am really hoping I don't just have to end this video as we completely miss the playoffs or don't even ever make it out of the wild card round of the playoffs. That would be incredibly disappointing. Thankfully, we managed to sneak into the playoffs here with our 11-6 record, but once again, we have to travel to Cincinnati just like we did a couple years ago. We finish as the number 15 offensive points per game and the number 9 defensive points per game. Harrison ends up with 4,400 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions on the ground. Breece Hall goes for 914 and 8 scores. Philip Harrison ran in for another 5. And then receiving, Garrett Wilson, the only receiver to go over 1,000 yards, got 9 touchdowns. And Schwan Widmer got 7. Arian Smith caught 8. Kyle Pitts came in to get 751 yards and 4 touchdowns, and Breece Hall caught 5. And then Tyrell Lewis, a backup receiver, caught a couple, along with Elijah Keaton, our backup tight end, and Calvin Bryce. But how did the defense do this year? It looks like Cameron Kirkland led our team in tackles and sacks. Micah Parsons got 20.5. Quinnen Williams got 12.5. So yeah, the Ravens defense is probably still one of, if not the best playbooks for simulation. And then Ben Nickerson got 2 interceptions. Sean Lane got 1. Cameron Kirkland got 1. Sauce Gardner and Mac English. And we finally managed to get out of the wildcard round by a final score of 16-13. Moving on to the next round of the playoffs, we surprisingly get a home game because the 2 and the 3 seed also lost. So we get to host the 6 seed Kansas City Chiefs. And why not finally jump in and play a little bit here? About 2 minutes to go. It's a 7-point game. We need this stop here. Mahomes is under pressure, gets rid of it, and that's going to be caught, but not have the first down. That'll take us down to the 2-minute warning, and now we just need to eat away at the clock. Now, unfortunately for us, Kansas City does have all 3 timeouts. So we're going to come out and run this ball with Breece Hall to the outside, spin out that man, and get close to the marker. We'll rule down, I think, a yard shy. A very similar, if not the same exact play coming up. And we go right back to Breece Hall, who's got the first down and a lot more across the 30. Stiff arms that man, and he's just going to walk into the end zone. They would end up with a garbage time touchdown, but it does not matter. We're headed to the AFC Championship game by a final score of 35-28. In that game, we actually get to take on the team that bounced us out of the playoffs last year, but now this year, the Raiders are the 1 seed in the AFC side. The NFC Championship is between Philadelphia and Atlanta. Well, I honestly feel like something is up with Super Sim because I feel like it doesn't give us enough plays, but we jump in, we are down by 9. It is 3-12. And we're going to find Smith for the first down to about the 30. Obviously trying to fight our way back in this game a little bit. Drop back, roll to the outside. Not saying anyone come open, just throw this one away. Don't want to make any stupid throws and turn the ball over right now. 2nd and 10. We're going to send Kyle Pitts in motion. We'll drop back, and we're going to throw this one to Pitts over the middle and take that gain of 7. That would take us down to the 2-minute warning now. It's a 3rd and 3. We'll send a man in motion. Harrison will take the snap. Stand in the pocket. We're going to try to launch this one to the end zone, and that'll be caught. Touchdown, Jets. And we make this a 1-score game. Unfortunately, here as I came out for the extra point, it actually got blocked, so it's still a 3-point game right now. And now the Raiders, led by quarterback Kyler Murray, are coming onto the field. I don't know who I thought was going to be their quarterback, but it definitely was not him. They're going to start at the 24-yard line. We absolutely need this stop. It's a handoff to Ashton Jeanty, and that is not a stop at all. That's a 9-yard carry. I don't want to burn a timeout just yet, just in case they do get the first down quickly here. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but just trust me on this one. It's something I'm attempting. Letting the clock run down as much as possible. He's going to send Jeanty in motion. Now he's the only one in the backfield, and they're going to take a delay of game. I wasn't expecting them to do that, but now it's a 2nd and 6 with 1:08 to play. Handoff to Jeanty, who goes to the outside. He'll get met and brought down, and now we'll burn our first timeout. 1:03 remaining. If they get this first down, it's pretty much a game over. He's actually going to look to pass, so we're going to try to stay in coverage, and he's going to get hit and brought down. We'll burn a timeout. They're going to have to punt this ball away. Maybe we can get just a massive return here with 58 seconds to go. The punt will be sent deep. We're going to field this at about the 20-yard line, and the blocking sets up. We go to the outside, spin back in, and are brought down to 26. It is now up to Philip Harrison and our offense. He'll take the snap and looks to pass. We're going to fire this one over the middle. That's caught by Kyle Pitts, and we'll be close to the marker. Let's just run this no-huddle offense here. And do they actually run to the line now instead of just running off a chunk of time? I believe they do, which is actually pretty nice. But we'll drop back. We're going deep for Garrett Wilson. Why not? Single coverage down near the 10-yard line, and it's knocked away. We do have a timeout here with 32 seconds to go, and we just need the first down. So we're going to do something crazy. How does that happen? They have 3 down linemen, and they beat us for a loss in the backfield? Are you kidding me? Well, that is not how I wanted to burn our final timeout. 27 seconds to go. It's a 4th and 3. Now we need this first down. Hit as we're throwing, and that's going to be the ball game. Well, it was at least a close matchup here in this round of the playoffs in the AFC Championship, but no, the Raiders are now headed to the Super Bowl. Could I have played that better? Probably, but also on like a 3rd and inches with 3 down linemen, I figured I was guaranteed the first down and we'd have a few more plays to go downfield. But no, apparently that defensive tackle was the best one the league has ever seen. Well, I feel like we built a really good team here, made it to the AFC Championship, but unfortunately came up short. The Raiders end up winning the Super Bowl over the Falcons 21-7, but ultimately this rebuild is considered a failure.